Good morning and welcome to our Tuesday learning. I'm Rabbi Elton from the Great Synagogue, and we're looking at the Sefer HaChinuch, the medieval Spanish description of the commandments, and in particular the author's suggestions as to the reasons for these commandments. We're looking at mitzvah 582 out of 613, a mitzvah that appears in this week's Parashat Ki Teitzei, and a very sweet mitzvah, the mitzvah of a husband to stay with his wife after he's married her for a whole year, and to look after her and to love her and make her happy for the first year of their marriage. Of course, he has to make her happy the whole of the marriage, but in the first year, he can't go away at all. He has to concentrate exclusively on making his wife happy. So let's have a look at the mitzvah and then the reasons which the Sefer HaChinuch gives for this mitzvah. Sheyismach hechason im ishto shana echas. That a groom should rejoice with his wife for 1 year. We are commanded that the groom should rejoice with his wife for 1 year. Koloma, that is to say, he shouldn't go out of the city, to go off to fight a war, and for no other reason either, such that he would be dwelling without her, yamim rabim, for many days. Ella yeshivima shana shalema miyam hanasuin. Rather, he should dwell with her for 1 year completely from the day of his wedding. Now, some people are very, very careful never to leave their wives for the first year of their marriage, even for a night, even for a day. Whereas here, the Chinuch seems to say yamim rabim, many days. So maybe a day apart is all right, but not many days. Al ze ne'emar, and this is what the verse says. Naki leveso shana achas. You are free from all external responsibilities for 1 year, so you can look after your household, that is to say your wife. V'simach es ishto asher lakach, so that the groom can make his wife happy, the wife whom he has taken. Misharshei ha-mitzvah, what are the reasons or underlying ideas behind this mitzvah? Ki hakel baruch hu ala b'machshavato lefanav v'leviras ha'olam. When God made the world, he had this thought: V'chefzo she'yishasev bivrios tovos hanaldos mizacha unekeva she'yaz davgu behachsha. The God's plan for the world was this, that the world should be settled with good creatures who are born from a man and a woman who dwell together in a proper manner. Ki aznus to'evas hilafanav, because God finds it abominable when people are promiscuous or unfaithful. Al-Kain, therefore, Gazar Aleinu, Ha'am Asher Bacha Lios Nikra Al-Shema. Therefore, he commanded Israel, the nation he chose and the nation to whom he gave his name, Yisrael, the El at the end Yisrael is, of course, God's name. Sheneshev im ha'isha ha'miyuchedes lanu lakim zera. That a man should dwell with the wife who has been singled out for him, either in a practical sense, arranged for him, or maybe in a spiritual sense, destined for him, in order that they can make a family. Shana shalema me'eshinisa osa, a whole year dedicated just to building up the relationship. Kedei lahargil hateva ima, and here is the psychological insight of the Chinuch. We often say that absence makes the heart grow fonder, or familiarity breeds contempt. Well, that's not the explanation of the Chinuch. Quite the opposite. He says, Kedei lahargil hateva ima, lahadbik haratzon etzla, lachnis si yura, v'chol pa'ala belev. He spends a whole year with his wife in order that he should accustom himself to her. He should get used to her, and should his will, his desire should become attached to her, and her appearance, her form, and all her actions should become inculcated in his heart. He should become wholly used to her. He should direct all his affection and interest towards her, and become used to all of her ways. He should become totally immersed in her presence and in her actions. Ad she'avo etzel hateva kol maseh isha acheres v'chol inyonecha derech zarus. Until the very idea of being with another woman just strikes him as completely alien and absurd. This is the woman I'm with. This is the one I know. This woman I spend all my time with. I'm used to the way she looks. I'm used to the way she behaves. Anybody else seems very, very strange to me. This is the person I'm comfortable with. Anyone else would be like putting on a new and uncomfortable pair of shoes. Ki kol teva barov, because all nature, all inclination really goes to what we are. We do a lot. Anything we do a lot, we become accustomed to, and we become at ease with whatever we do very frequently. Yivakesh v'yahav mashir gilbo, and we come to seek actually, and we come to love that which we are accustomed to do. Umitokach yarchik adam darako mi'isha zara, and as a result of that, a man will naturally come to avoid any other woman because he's just not used to her. She's not part of his regular life. Again, the chinuch's idea, which comes up a lot, that we should do things and then our natures will change because of them. We engage in this cognitive behavioral therapy on ourselves. We do a particular action a lot, and that affects the way we think and the way we feel, which then in turn leads to our actions becoming naturally in that direction. V'yafneh el ha'isha haruya lo machshavato, and this will result in all our feelings naturally being directed towards the woman who's appropriate for us, our wife. V'yachsharu ha'vladim sheterebo, and then you get wonderful, appropriate children. V'yeh olam ma'alechein lefnei habaro, and then the whole world will appear to be a beautiful place before God. The world will be running just as God wishes the world to run. V'zeh she'amri zichron avracha, and here's a nice proof. Our sages say that this applies to she'echad ha'nose es ha'basula, somebody who marries somebody who's not been married before, or es ha'amana, or a widow, or es ha'yavama, or somebody who's in a very particular situation, that they were married to a man, he died without leaving children, so she marries the brother of her deceased husband. So that's a yavama, somebody who's gone through yibum, this form of marriage where you become the wife of your late husband's brother, or you're released through the procedure known as chalitza, and you can marry anybody at all. But in any case, chaya bazeh, all of these different categories of wife, whether it's a first marriage or a second marriage, you have to spend a whole year with her. Shukulan ru'uyin lakach lefi ta'am hanizka, because the reason I gave you applies in all these cases. This is a woman you didn't know before, and you have to get to know, and you spend a year getting to know her properly. Aval lo hamachazir grushaso, but not if you remarry your ex-wife. Now, one is allowed to do that. As long as your ex-wife hasn't been married to somebody else in the meantime, you can marry them a second time. And then you don't need the whole year because you're already used to them. So a second whole year getting used to them isn't necessary because you know them from the first marriage. But in any case, where you've married the person for the first time, then you spend a whole year with your wife to make sure that you become totally immersed in her person and her ways, and you achieve this great connection with her, such that the idea of having a relationship with anybody else becomes totally out of the realm of possibility. I wish everybody a good week, and those who are married, happy marriages, and please God willing again next week. Be well.